Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're really digging into something that seems super simple, almost obvious, maybe.
Yeah.
Basic questions. And you might be thinking, okay, what's your name? What's so deep about that? But trust me, there's a lot there.
hmm
We're going to unpack why these are like the absolute bedrock of how we connect, how we move through the world.
Right.
Our source material, it's from an English learning podcast, actually. Basic English Questions and Answers for Beginners by Revnix Zone 360.
Okay.
And our mission isn't just, language learning. It's about seeing how these fundamental questions are building blocks for, well, everything. Universal keys to communication.
It is fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
The surprising depth of these really basic questions. It becomes so clear when you look closer.
Yeah.
And the source material really hammers this home. It says, these are questions you'll hear all the time, like interviews, school, with friends, traveling. Exactly. Everywhere. So that makes them just crucial, for navigating tons of real-world situations.
Mm.
Doesn't matter if you travel a lot or just meeting someone new down the street.
Right.
It's not just about, can you speak the language?
Yeah.
It's about connection, understanding. They're the way in, the starting point for almost every interaction we have.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Kicking things off with what the source calls basic personal questions.
hmm
These are the ones that start pretty much any new chat, right? Like, what's your name? Where are you from? How old are you? What do you do? Got any hobbies?
The classic.
Totally. And at first I was like, yeah, basic, obvious. But then you think about the heavy lifting they do. They're the absolute first threads you weave, the initial sketch of a person.
That's a great way to put it. The initial sketch. It's like a universal social handshake, isn't it?
Yeah.
They establish identity, context. It's like a cognitive shortcut.
Yeah.
Lets us quickly sort of categorize and start relating to someone.
Mhm.
Cuts down that initial uncertainty.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's not just fact collecting. It's efficient social processing.
Yeah.
We need to understand who we're talking to.
Right.
And those simple answers the source gives, like, my name is your name, I'm from India, I'm 25, I'm a student, I work as a teacher. Boom. Instant snapshot.
It's quick.
It is. And it makes you wonder, how much vital info, how much initial rapport can you build with just a few words? These are the first pieces we use to decide, okay, how do we continue this chat?
It's amazing how fast you get a sense of someone. And okay, once you've got that initial sketch, the who,
Yeah.
often the conversation moves to how, right? How they live,
Naturally, yeah.
which brings us to the daily life questions in the source. Things like, what time do you wake up? What's for breakfast? How do you get to work or school? What do you do in the evening? What time do you go to bed?
The routine stuff?
Exactly. And honestly, my first reaction was, are we really asking about breakfast? Seems so mundane, just routine.
I get that.
But the more I thought about it, the more I realized, wow, there's actually some intimacy in those answers. What's your take? Why are these simple daily things so potent for connection?
Well, it's kind of counterintuitive, isn't it? We
Wow.
think routines are boring,
Totally.
but they're the quiet anchors of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think bigger picture, understanding someone's daily rhythm, it's not just facts. It actually fosters a deeper connection, empathy, because you start to visualize their world.
Oh, okay.
You could call them like behavioral fingerprints, our habits. They're deep expressions of our values, our priorities, even our culture.
Huh. Never thought of it like that.
Yeah. Like the source gives examples. I wake up at 7 a.m., eggs and toast for breakfast. I take the bus, I walk. These aren't just random details.
No.
We paint a really detailed picture of someone's day. Like someone says they wake up at 4 a.m. to study.
Mm-hmm.
Tells you about their discipline. Or they walk to work. Maybe something about their connection to their neighborhood. Each answer adds to this whole picture of a person's life. And it lets us relate their routine to ours, find common ground in the everyday stuff. It's like getting invited into the rhythm of their life.
I can totally see that now. And it makes me wonder, are there cultural differences here? Like, would what do you eat for breakfast mean something different or land differently in Tokyo versus Texas or in different kinds of cultures?
Oh, absolutely. That's the beauty and the complexity, right?
Yeah.
The question might be universal, but the answer and what it implies, often very culturally specific.
Okay.
What's polite in one place might be too personal somewhere else.
Sure.
Or a common answer might reveal a lot about norms around food or family or work-life balance.
So even the simple stuff is layered.
Exactly. It reminds you that even the most basic questions can be gateways to much deeper cultural understanding. The answers are packed with context, not just facts.
Fascinating. Okay, so we've done the intros, we've peeked into daily life. The next step usually is building a real connection, right? Rapport.
Mm-hmm. The social glue.
Yeah, and that's where the source's social and friendly questions come in. These are the ones that, really help us build that rapport, move past just the basics. How are you? What's your favorite food? Got any siblings? What do you like doing on weekends? Speak any other languages.
Yeah.
I mean, these aren't just throwaway lines, are they? They feel like keys, opening doors to more relaxed personal chats. I've definitely been saved by "Do you have any hobbies?" when the alternative was just awkward silence.
You're spot on. And what's crucial here is how these questions, yeah, they seem simple, but they are absolutely vital for building those social bonds. Finding shared interests
Right.
in like communication theory. How are you?
Mm.
Is often called phatic communication. It's not always about getting a health update. It's about maintaining the connection, showing goodwill, opening the channel. It moves you past the basic biofacts into preferences, family, fun stuff. It invites sharing, creates reciprocity.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the source's examples. I'm good, thank you, I love pizza. Yeah, one brother. Yeah, Hindi and a bit of English. You see how they allow for a much more personal back and forth.
Totally.
It's about finding that common ground, discovering things you both like, recognizing that shared humanity.
Yeah.
It moves you from just knowing about someone to starting to know them. These are the tools of like emotional intelligence in conversation.
I definitely agree they're fundamental, but I don't know, I sometimes worry they can also feel a bit superficial. Like we're just ticking boxes. Is there a risk we rely on them too much and don't go deeper? Or does their very basicness serve another purpose?
That's a really fair point. And you're right, they are just the first layer, absolutely.
Okay.
But think of them as like the entry fee, the table stakes for the conversation. Without them, it's really hard to even get to a place where deeper connection is possible. Their basicness is actually their strength. They're understood everywhere, low risk, perfect for breaking the ice.
Right, less intimidating.
Exactly. They're necessary, but maybe not sufficient for real rapport. You build that solid foundation first, then you can move on to more complex stuff naturally.
Absolutely. That makes sense. And speaking of practical foundations, let's shift gears to the really practical side. Moving through the world. The source calls this travel and public English.
The functional stuff.
Yeah, the questions you absolutely need when you're in a new place or dealing with officials. Where do you live? How long have you been here? What places have you visited? Do you like traveling? And even, what's your dream destination?
Right.
And the source explicitly says these answers are useful for airport, visa, and hotel conversations. That's not just learning English. That feels like empowerment. I remember this one time my phone died while traveling, and just being able to clearly ask, where is the nearest train station, felt like a superpower.
That's such a perfect example. It really highlights how critical these questions are.
Yeah.
Essential for anyone, navigating a new place, dealing with official stuff, or even just expressing hopes in a new setting.
Yeah.
Imagine landing somewhere new. Maybe you don't speak the language well. Being able to confidently ask or answer, where do you live? Or how long have you been here? That's not just info gathering. It's empowerment, safety, agency.
Definitely feels safer.
It's functional language. It unlocks access to things, makes you feel less vulnerable.
Yeah.
The sources examples, I live in Mumbai, been here 3 years, visited Delhi and Goa, want to visit New York. They show that immediate real-world use.
Yeah.
It really begs the question, doesn't it? How much easier, safer, more fulfilling does life get when you can handle these basic queries clearly? They're not just small talk. They're for critical interactions. They let you move freely, effectively in our global world.
It's actually incredible the freedom these simple questions give you. So, okay, what does this all mean then? Beyond just the questions. The Revnix Zone 360 source, it's not just about knowing the answers. It puts this huge emphasis on practicing them.
Right, the active part.
Yeah. It tells learners, repeat all the answers slowly. Try answering these out loud now. Reminds them, repeat after me helps your brain learn faster. Even has a quick review with basics like what's your name and what do you do. It's about building that muscle memory for communication, isn't it?
Precisely. That's the really insightful bit, how the source ties it all to active practice.
Yeah.
The real takeaway from this deep dive isn't just understanding the questions themselves. It's recognizing that fluency, whether it's language, a skill, anything complex, comes from doing, from active engagement, not just passively taking it in. The source is implicitly teaching that the process of learning to think and answer in English is just as important, maybe more so, than the content itself.
Learning the process.
Yeah, it's like cognitive scaffolding. training your brain not just to find the info, but to say it smoothly, confidently. And that connects to this wider universal idea. Applying knowledge, actively using it, that's the key to truly internalizing it, making it yours.
Right.
It's the difference between knowing about something and actually knowing it, being able to use it effectively. That practice, that's what bridges the gap between just having information and having actionable understanding.
Wow. What a journey today. Diving into something so fundamental like basic questions. From those first personal intros
Yeah.
through the daily rhythms, building social bridges, and then navigating travel. We've seen how these 20 essential questions from the Revnix Zone 360 source are like the fundamental threads of human connection.
Absolutely.
They're anything but trivial. They're the true building blocks. The universally understood handshake of interaction. They let us process social info fast and feel connected.
And that brings us perfectly to a final thought, maybe a provocation for you, the listener. If just mastering these simplest questions opens up whole worlds of conversation and understanding, what deeper layers of connection, insight, opportunity, what can you unlock by continuing to explore and apply knowledge? One basic step at a time. Think about how understanding these universal building blocks, maybe in language, maybe a new skill, any field, makes you not just informed, but truly ready. Ready to engage with the world around you, unlock new possibilities. The power isn't just in the knowledge. It's in the confidence to use it, to navigate and connect.